One quiet morning, a farmer was walking near the foot of a mountain when something caught his eye. Lying alone on the ground was an egg larger than any he had ever seen before. He didn't know where it came from, and he didn't stop to wonder what it might become. Instead, he did what felt practical. He brought it home and gently placed it into a chicken's nest, assuming it would grow like the rest. Weeks passed. The egg cracked open. A small eaglet emerged, fragile, curious, and completely unaware that anything about him was different. No one told him he came from the sky. No one told him he was born with wings meant for flight. And so, from his very first breath, he learned by watching. He learned by copying. He learned by believing that the world around him was all there was. And that's where this story really begins. With a simple question we rarely ask ourselves. What if you were born for more, but never told? The eagle grew up surrounded by chickens. Day after day, he scratched the dirt for food, pecked at grains, and ran across the yard just like everyone else. He learned by watching. He copied their movements, their sounds, their routines, and slowly, without ever being told, he reached a quiet conclusion. This must be who I am. When the others stayed on the ground, so did he. When they pecked, he pecked. When they panicked at shadows, he panicked too. He never stretched his wings, not even once. Not because he couldn't, but because it never crossed his mind. After all, no one around him flew. And in his world, what you never see feels impossible. Have you ever noticed how powerful that is? How easily we mistake our surroundings for our limits. Sometimes, it's not fear that keeps us grounded. It's familiarity. One afternoon, while pecking at the dirt like he always did, the eagle paused. Something made him look up. High above, a massive bird glided effortlessly across the sky. Its wings stretched wide, catching the sunlight. Calm, powerful, free. For a moment, everything else disappeared. The eagle stood frozen, heart racing, unable to look away. He turned to the chickens beside him and asked, almost in a whisper, "Who is that?" One of them scoffed softly and said, "That's an eagle, the king of birds. He belongs up there. Not like us. We live our lives on the ground." The eagle lowered his head. He didn't argue. He didn't ask another question. Something inside him stirred a quiet recognition, a familiar ache. But he pushed it down, and in that moment, he accepted a borrowed belief that the sky was never meant for him. So he spent his life pecking at the ground, never knowing he was born to fly. The eagle lived his entire life believing he was a chicken, not because he lacked wings, but because no one ever told him the truth. He never failed. He never fell. He never even tried. And that may be the greatest tragedy of all. He didn't lose because he was weak. He lost because the story he believed about himself was too small. How many lives unfold the same way? How many people spend years doing what feels safe? Not because it's right, but because it's familiar? We rarely question the labels handed to us. We trust the voices around us more than the quiet pull inside. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Your potential doesn't disappear just because you ignore it. The eagle didn't die a chicken. He died an eagle who never discovered who he was. And the real question is this: what part of you is still waiting to be told the truth? An eagle raised among chickens will always struggle to imagine the sky, not because the sky is unreachable, but because it was never part of his world. And people are no different. The voices around you quietly shape your reality. They influence what you believe is possible. They define how high you allow yourself to dream, often without you realizing it. If you spend your life surrounded by people who see you as ordinary, you'll start shrinking your goals to fit their expectations. Not out of fear, but out of habit. But something changes when you stand next to people who see more in you. People who remind you of your strengths. People who challenge you to rise, not stay comfortable. That's when courage appears. That's when wings begin to stretch. So choose your environment carefully, because in the end, who you become depends on which voices you listen to most.